Welcome to this week's edition of Q&A Tuesday here at BarrelRacingTips.com. As I was reviewing the questions that have come in, I decided I'd create a series in which I'd answer them in a collective way that would bring value to all barrel racers. It's my hope that the tips I'll be bringing you might just take down some walls and help bust through some misunderstandings or misconceptions about what it really takes to be competitive. If you've been following BarrelRacingTips.com for a while, you'll notice that we place quite a bit of emphasis on good quality horsemanship. Now, if you're an experienced equestrian, it would be easy to write some of what I share off as basic. But you should know that it wasn't until I was already at a very advanced level myself and was so certain that I had already had all the basics that I was inspired to go even deeper. And that is precisely where I found the secrets to a level of barrel racing success I hadn't reached before. I feel as though one of the biggest issues that holds barrel racers back is when they can't see the forest for the trees. It's the things we are missing between ourselves as riders and our horses that we aren't even aware we are missing that can hold us back. Again, it's quite possible to have experienced a fair amount of success while still being unconscious of the missing links. But my desire is to help you and your horses dissolve any remaining blocks standing in your way. So in today's video, I want to share some tips for how riding with feel can help you begin to see the forest and the trees so you also can reach a new level of barrel racing success. I actually devoted an entire chapter in my book to awareness and feel, where I go into much greater depth. But one way I like to describe riding with feel is that you and your horse have a small bubble of space between the contact you make with each other. It means, for example, that your intention to move their feet must come before you physically ask them. Now, most of us have to consciously train ourselves to ride in this way before it becomes second nature. But when you do, it means that you're constantly preparing the position before the transition, right down to exact foot placement at times. Through utilizing feel, you're properly preparing your horse in those split seconds before you actually apply pressure to ask him for something. You're essentially setting everything up to be easy for your horse because you're using your energy and body in ways that help him know what's coming, even if that is a split second of preparation in the middle of a wickedly fast run. One example would be as we're coming down the alley. We don't want to hold dead restraining contact on our horse's face, then just throw them off a cliff. We instead might prepare our horse by leaning the upper body only slightly forward while engaging our core, rounding our lower back slightly to inspire collection while holding the high-level communication tools in our hands in a firm but giving way that prepares and encourages our horse to yield to contact and honor that bubble of space, the feel we present. It's also ideal to bring up the life in our body before we actually use our legs to ask our horse to gradually transition from walk to trot, then lope and full gallop to the first barrel. Again, all this happens in a tiny fraction of a second, but barrel races are also won by those tiny fractions. As you can see, there's a lot that must go in those few seconds in the alley to ride with feel. The truth is, your horse will always respond better when you ride with feel, but the full benefit comes from riding with awareness, timing, and feel consistently and through sensitizing and educating your horses to the meaning of the subtle communication you offer. When you do, you're not just setting yourself up for the success of your horse's next step to be easier, because with consistency, your horse will actually become more trusting, less bracy and resistant, and not only more willing and happy to do as you ask, but also more physically able. Because you're setting up any maneuver to be easy for him, the more practice you both get from doing so will just have a positive snowball effect that will show up in the alley, in your turns, in your runs, and in general. Honoring this bubble of space between your horse means always first using something as subtle as your thoughts and the life in your body to communicate your intentions before you actually apply pressure and ask your horse to make a change. This is a language that comes naturally to horses, but again, we must even further educate and sensitize them to respond to this subtle body language from us. Unfortunately, we often unconsciously do the opposite. Now, at high levels, this can all happen, again, within a fraction of a second, but we all have to start somewhere. And at the conclusion of this video, I'll be outlining some suggestions for you to get started. Until then, let's go to the barn and I'll demonstrate the difference feel can make. When asking .com here to move in a counter arc, if I just ask him out of the blue, you can see in slow motion here that he resisted the contact I made with the reins by getting stiff, high-headed, and resistant. You can also see that although I applied leg pressure at the same time, there was a huge delay before he actually started moving over and responding. Now he probably does need a little more education to be soft to contact and respond to leg cues. However, when we look at the next clip, you'll see that I started, well, you can't really see it, but I started thinking about asking him to counter arc before I did. I shaped my own body. I started sending my energy the direction I was going. None of this may have even been visible to the eye, but when I finally picked up the reins, instead of doing so abruptly, I closed my hands a little more slowly. He honored the feel I presented and lowered his head, yielding to the contact, and when I finally added a little leg pressure, he smoothly stepped over instantly because of the preparation I had provided him. As you can see, riding in this way makes me like a great dancer, and that makes it really easy and clear to my partner where I'm going to lead them and what to do next, making everything more fun and easy for my horse. Here are some ideas to start riding with more feel. Keep in mind, all these things may need to happen within a split second. Now, is this easy to train ourselves to do? Is it basic? Is it something that most barrel racers do? Not exactly, but the conscious training it takes on our part to use our body and mind to ride with feel is so worthwhile. Riding with feel is completely foreign to most riders, and it's so powerful and so often misunderstood and overlooked. And there's really no bottom to how well we can develop our feel and the ways in which it can benefit us in the arena. To summarize, if you're not riding with awareness, timing, and feel, your horse simply isn't going to be able to respond in a quality way. So whether you're a beginner or advanced barrel racer, I hope you're inspired to take a closer look at yourself and your own horses. As I said, it wasn't until I already thought I had it all together and had achieved a fair amount of success that I feel my journey really began. I'm so glad you're joining me, and I intend to continue taking you with me as I explore barrel racing and horsemanship in ways that have never been done before. A way that creates happy horses that are equipped, ready, and able to do what we ask with enthusiasm and efficiency, leading to barrel racing success like never before. I promise you, it's the adventure of a lifetime. I hope this week's Q&A will prove helpful, and I always love to hear from you, so feel free to ask questions or leave feedback in the comments below. Until next time, remember, applied knowledge is power.